If you have built a website with AI recently, I can guarantee you one thing. You absolutely know the generic look.
Oh, yeah. The basic interfont everywhere. The tired purple gradients. And those weird 3D floating blobs. Well, those blobs are officially dead. The era of the generic AI aesthetic is completely over.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are permanently retiring the useless prompt to make things more premium. It just doesn't work.
No, it really doesn't. You can't just throw empty adjectives at a machine.
Right. So our mission today is different. We are unpacking a highly systematic, three-step approach to front-end design. We want to show you how to force Claude to build websites with actual high-end taste.
It is a complete paradigm shift for developers. You are building rigid constraints. You do this so the AI literally cannot fail.
And I will be totally honest with you here. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself, just typing make it pop and hoping. It is a remarkably hard habit to break.
Right, and that is entirely human. You want the machine to do the heavy lifting, but the machine inherently lacks a soul. It lacks a definitive point of view.
Which means we have to provide that soul first. So if you are listening to this, you might be tempted to jump straight into your terminal. Don't do it.
Yeah, step away from the code.
Before you write a single line, you have to build a taste library. We begin before any code is written.
Because you literally have to define what good looks like first. You need to start by curating 20 to 30 high-resolution screenshots. And you should pull these from platforms where actual professionals live, places like Gribble or X.
You are essentially creating a folder full of visual inspiration. It is exactly like giving a master chef a mood board before they cook.
That is a brilliant analogy. The AI is the master chef. It possesses the technical skills.
Right.
But without a clear menu or artistic direction, it gets nervous. It defaults to the ultimate crowd pleaser. It just makes a perfectly safe, incredibly average burger.
And the AI burger is relentlessly bland. But why does that actually happen? Why do large language models always regress to that safe average if left to their own devices?
Well, you have to think about their foundational training data. These models are trained on literally the entire internet. And let's be painfully honest here. The vast majority of the internet is poorly designed. Think about the millions of neglected amateur blogs out there.
Absolutely.
The AI absorbs all of it. When you ask it for a design without strict constraints, it panics. It calculates the mathematical average of the entire web. And that mathematical average is inherently mediocre.
So it literally averages all internet design into a bland, uninspiring middle.
It aims for the exact dead center of the bell curve.
But they're curated. Taste library forcibly pulls it to the edge.
Yes, it acts as a massive anchor for the model. When you upload those 20 high-end screenshots, you change everything. You tell Claude to only pull ideas from this beautiful subset of data.
Okay, so we have our taste library built. You got your gorgeous screenshots in a folder. But how do you actually feed that into Claude without overwhelming it?
This is exactly where most developers spectacularly fail. You do not just upload the images and ask for a finished website.
That feels deeply counterintuitive to most people, though. You need a website, so you ask for one.
Yeah, but that's a massive rookie mistake. When you ask for a single design right away, the AI rushes. It takes lazy shortcuts. Instead, you need to employ the 5-3 tweak method.
5 to 3 to tweak. Let's break that down.
Step 1 is pure ideation. You upload your taste library and you ask Claude to generate 5 distinct structural styles. And you give these styles evocative names.
Give me an example of an evocative name.
Like, you might call one style print tech, and you might call another one vast quiet.
Vast quiet. I really like that. It implies a ton of luxurious negative space.
Exactly. It firmly sets a specific vibe for the model. So you get these 5 radically different stylistic interpretations back. Then you narrow those 5 concepts down to 3 structural layouts.
And finally, you tweak those visually. But I have to push back here for a second. Requesting 5 completely different styles at once seems risky. Doesn't that risk confusing the AI or diluting the context window?
It's a valid concern for older models. But Claude can easily handle the conceptual load now. More importantly, it forces the AI to explore the edges of its creative boundaries. It actively prevents it from locking into that first lazy idea.
So you have these 5 completely different visual outputs. How should you evaluate those initial 5 styles to pick the best 3?
You have to look strictly at the macro-level vibes. You focus entirely on the structural framing. You completely ignore placeholder text or bad colors for now.
You let the AI explore creative extremes before you lock in the foundation.
It is truly the only way to squeeze genuine visual variety out of these models.
That makes total sense. Sponsor. We're back. So we have our layout style from the tweak method.
The foundation is officially poured.
But a layout is just a bunch of empty boxes. We need actual assets to fill them. And you shouldn't rely on Claude to invent every single button from scratch.
No, absolutely not. This is where specialized assembly tools step in to build the actual site.
So where do we get the parts?
You should immediately turn to a platform called 21st.Dev. It acts as a massive repository for pulling high-end pre-built component code.
Okay, so instead of asking Claude to build a complex pricing block, you just grab one.
You pull intricate pricing blocks and deeply animated buttons directly from their library.
And what about the images?
For imagery, you utilize the Higgsfield MCP.
Let's define that real quick. An MCP is a tool letting AI safely connect to outside data and apps. So the Higgsfield MCP handles the visuals.
That is flawless. The MCP architecture allows Claude to reach out. It generates custom, non-stock hero images on the fly.
Whoa. Imagine generating thousands of bespoke UI components instantly without writing any code.
2-sec silence. That is staggering.
It allows a single developer to output the volume of a boutique agency.
I really need to understand the mechanics here, though. Why is pulling component code from 21st.Dev actually better than having Claude generate the HTML and CSS from scratch?
Because every single component on 21st.Dev is rigorously battle-tested.
Battle-tested by human engineers. Yes. Highly experienced human engineers check them for complex responsiveness. They check them for accessibility. When Claude writes a fancy button, it usually breaks on a mobile phone.
It lacks that real-world friction testing.
Exactly. Pulling human-vetted code completely eliminates the bugs AI often hallucinates.
Right. Grabbing proven code saves time and guarantees it actually works perfectly.
It is just the smartest possible way to build software today.
Okay, let's look at the final polish phase. We have the layout, we have the battle-tested assets, but generative UI usually falls apart in the final 10%.
Oh, it really is a nightmare phase. You get weird spacing issues. The hover animations are noticeably jittery.
It feels incredibly cheap, like a bad knockoff.
Developers call this AI slop.
AI slop, messy, misaligned, or lazy output generated by AI models.
It is the frustrating digital equivalent of a massive smudge.
So how do we systematically force this final polish?
We utilize the impeccable skill. It is a sophisticated Claude code integration. It automatically scans your entire compiled UI to fix spacing issues. It fixes bad typography. It smooths out that motion slop. And then there is the tweaks bar hack.
I love this hack.
You command Claude to build a live slider panel directly into your dev server.
So I have my website on the left and a panel of sliders on the right.
Yes. You physically adjust fonts and spacing in real time visually without writing or prompting new code.
It is like having a physical mixing desk in a recording studio. Instead of making the band replay the whole song to change the volume, you just slide a fader.
That is exactly what it feels like.
But I'm curious about the automated cleanup. How does the impeccable skill actually know what perfect spacing is compared to the slop it initially generated?
Well, it fundamentally stops relying on the AI's flawed taste. Instead, the skill compares your raw code against established mathematical design system rules.
It scans your raw code directly against rigid established design system rules.
It brings objective math to highly subjective art.
Beat. Let's take a step back and look at the big picture here. High-taste AI design isn't about better adjectives in your prompt.
True elegance is an output, never an input.
Right. It is a rigid system.
Yeah.
It requires building a taste library first. Then you use the 5-3 tweak workflow. You leverage 21st.Dev and Higgsfield for assets. And you automate the polish with the impeccable skill and tweaks bar.
You really need to go curate your own 20-image taste library today. Stop accepting the safe average.
You now have the tools. Beat. But mapping this all out leaves me with a final provocative thought.
Okay, let's hear it.
If we can now use systematic constraints to perfectly mimic high-end agency-level taste, well, what happens when perfect design becomes entirely commoditized? Will raw, ugly, unpolished HTML eventually become the new luxury because it proves a human made it?
That is an incredibly deep thought to end on. Perfection might just become the new boring.
Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.